Welcome to Aftersight, your home for stories for people just like you. Your vision loss journey isn't something to be ashamed of. Take a listen.
And that's the main thing I remember learning when I was taught the slack line when I still had vision, is don't look at the line below you, but look at your anchor point that's solid ahead of you.
If you want me to cook your dinner, you have to put stuff where it goes.
And I suppose part of this was also my own trying to figure out who I was and how to be in the world in this very new way.
I would say a potted plant, because I get sad when the flowers would wilt, eventually.
I'm going to say fresh cut flowers, because then I don't have to worry about killing a plant. I'm really bad at taking care of.
These people all have the same thing in common. You. Their stories are for your encouragement, your determination, and your inspiration. This is Aftersight.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast Aftersight. I'm your host, Penn Street, and I still feel like I need to say Happy New Year. I'm really excited about 2023. And I hope everybody out there is looking forward to this new year, new possibilities. Today, I'm so super excited. My guest today is no stranger to overcoming adversity and pivoting his own dreams so that others can reach theirs. His name is Jerome Avery, and I can't wait for all of you to get to know him. And when we come back, Jerome is going to share how his Olympic dreams actually went on to put other athletes on the Paralympic podium. So when we come back, Jerome, which I have heard he should, if he doesn't, has a hashtag guiding blind. And Jerome also is going to share, I want to say it's his mantra, his motto, which really touched my heart in so many different ways, and I'll get him to explain that. But it's what got you there will keep you there. All right, hang on, and we come back with Jerome Avery.
You're listening to Aftersight with Penn Street, an AINC original podcast. If you enjoy what you hear, please visit aincolorado.org for more shows, news, and articles read by our amazing staff and volunteers. If you have a question for Penn or would like to recommend a guest for future shows, please visit aincolorado.org/podcast-guest. And now, here's your host, Penn Street.
Jerome, welcome to Aftersight.
Hey, thank you for having me, Penn. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. I've been so excited ever since I heard your pre-interview with Jonathan. I was telling Jerome that I don't always listen to the entire pre-interviews because I want some surprises. I don't want to know everything about my guest because I want to put myself in the seat of our listeners out there. But Jerome, really, I could not turn it off. He really sucked me in and kept me there because your energy and just your zeal for life is contagious. So I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. That makes me feel good to hear that. That made me sound like I know what I'm talking about a little bit. And it's just a part of my energy, just to keep you motivated and excited. And that's me.
Absolutely. Well, Jerome, I don't know if you've listened to any of our episodes, but on the top, I always like to ask our guests just a few kind of random questions so we get to know you a little bit more before we dive in. Is that all right?
Let's go.
All right. So if you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
If I can change one thing about myself, I tend to sometimes put everyone first and not focus on myself at certain times when I feel that that's a need in order for me to be the person that I am. So focusing a little bit more on myself would probably be it. That
would be a great goal for the new year.
Yes, most definitely.
Jerome, what's your biggest fear?
I'm going to go with the cliche, but failure.
Ooh.
Definitely that. I really feel that everything that I've done, I've worked hard to accomplish, and I just put in the work, and to not be successful at it, that's a hard, pill to swallow at times.
Absolutely. What's the best advice that you have ever received?
It's probably one door closes, another one open. You'll do great in anything in everything that you do.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that.
And it definitely, it's definitely happening.
So Jerome, I know the work that you do, trust is one of the key components. Can you remember the moment in your life that where you really grasped what trust was?
I think it was just my upbringing, my family, the support that I had around me, that put me in a position to be who I am, and that allowed me to carry that over to do what I do as a guide runner.
Awesome.
So my family had they're the most supportive people that I've ever been around. And they constantly push me to do what I want to do. And that's where it stems from.
Wow. That's beautiful.
You'll hear me say family all the time because, they are my rock and they allow me to be who I am.
That's awesome. Yeah, I often say that about my family. That's my support system too, that they're my heart, because without them, I wouldn't be able to go on. So that's wonderful. Now, Jerome, what if you had a theme song, what would it be?
If I repeat that one again?
If you had a theme song, what would it be?
If I had a theme song, I don't think it would be more. Like I said, I've been excited. I get very excited. My energy. So I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. Now, if I was to do a song, it would definitely have to get the crowd pumped up.
Right.
And my karaoke go-to song is Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice.
Oh, I love it.
You see the energy? You feel the energy right there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It just gets you pumped up. So if I was to walk out anywhere, you will hear that doom, doom, doom,
yep,
doom,
yep.
Doom, 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 doom. And we could even take it a step back. And who is that original singer? David Bowie?
I think so.
Yeah, we could take a step back and say it from them. The Police, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. I love that. That's a new one. Nobody said. And I liked how you stated that if it's your karaoke song.
So, that's my go-to right there.
I love it.
That's how you get the crowd hyped up.
I love that. I love that. Well, Jerome, I know that you had your Olympic dreams fall short, not just once, but twice. And can you share with us how you somehow found it inside yourself that you transcended from your Olympic dreams to becoming a guide at the Paralympics?
Yeah. Well, my goal was to be an Olympian. Through my years, I've trained hard growing up in high school. And one of the cool things about the high school that I came from that actually got me even more pumped up is that we had an Olympian that was already there prior to me coming up in the 68, I want to say Mexico City. He won the 200 meters and his name was Tommy Smith.
Right.
If you're familiar with Tommy Smith, he held up the fist. And, he was a guy that came to the high school during an assembly and talked about, his time at being at the games. And during that time with civil rights, it was tough. But I knew at that time, growing up, his family would always compete against my family. We grew up in the same area, which was Lemoore, California, small high school. That just had me motivated from the beginning. So my whole dream was to be an Olympian. I qualified earlier on after high school for Sydney. So Sydney was my first go around. But I think in Sydney at the Olympic trials, I was just more or less excited to be there. I didn't understand that I what it really took to be an Olympian or even Olympic hopeful. I just happened to be fast off my natural abilities and qualify for the Olympic trials.
Wow. So
lining up for the first race, I had some huge famous guys right next to me, and I immediately got knocked off of my race because I looked up at the Jumbotron and I saw one of the big guys by the name of Dennis Mitchell, former elite athlete, and I want to say medalist. He was staring at me, and I looked up at the Jumbotron. And that immediately threw me off my game. So that was the slowest time I ran for the year, and I didn't qualify. So I got knocked out the first round. And it was just one of those things. What do I do? Do I go on and train and another 4 years, or is that it? And I chose to continue to run because super young in the game. And I end up moving to the Olympic Training Center shortly after that.
Oh, wow.
And not only did I become an athlete, but a student of the sport. So coming in 2004, I felt more prepared and more excited for that journey to get ready to go. And, it was one of those things. I qualified out the first round of the Olympic trials in 2004, out the second round. Wow. The third round was the semifinals, and I ended up getting knocked out. So it was, do I continue to train another 4 years? Because for those that don't know, the games are every 4 years.
Right.
Do I continue to train another 4 years, or do I find something else to do? So during that time frame of a week of me trying to figure it out, I got a call from a great friend of mine who competed for the Paralympic Games, and his name was Marlon Shirley. He was a single leg amputee, and he said, "Hey, Jerome, I know you didn't make it to the games, but do you want to go on as a guide runner?" And, I've never been around anybody that was blind. And another thing, I heard free trip to Greece.
Oh,
so that,
that's a nice carrot out there, right?
That definitely got my attention as well. But I was up for the challenge. I was super excited and up for the challenge. 2 weeks, I actually had maybe a month to truly prepare to get someone ready to go to Athens in 2004.
Wow.
But with that 2 weeks came along after I didn't qualify, I got a chance to meet a young gentleman by the name of Lex Gillette.
Yay, Lex.
If you don't know who Lex Gillette is, he's super amazing.
Yeah. And
we immediately hit it off as soon as I met him. And, I'll go into the quick story on our journey for the first part of it. I met him, but before he got there to the training facility, I wanted to put myself in his shoes, even if it was just for that short time frame. So I put the blinders on in a huge open field and tried to run.
Oh, wow.
And immediately I didn't trust myself. Penn, I did not trust myself at all. Even though I knew there was nothing around me,
right,
I just did not trust myself.
Wow.
So immediately it showed me that someone was willing to delegate his responsibilities for me to get him from point A to B.
Yeah.
I also understood that there were certain cues and certain things that I have to say in order for him to get from point A to B. So right then and there, communication and trust. That's big in what we do.
Yeah.
And before I actually started guide running, I was calling. So Lex was a jumper at that time frame. We had 2 weeks to prepare. I felt I was ready to go. And we get to Athens, Greece. After the opening ceremonies the next day, it's Lex time to shine. Get on the long jump runway. And for those that don't know, the long jump is a narrow runway, and you jump and you run. Maybe I want to say he knows where to jump off his 15th step on his left leg.
Okay.
So I'm up at the runway, and I'm at the board where you would jump off of.
Okay.
And I'm down. Straight. And then I move out close to me.
So you are standing where he's supposed to jump, and you're saying that?
Yes, I'm standing right there. I'm actually behind the board.
So he's running towards you.
Yes, he's
my
running.
gosh.
I'm 10. Lex is about 6'1", 6'2".
Oh my gosh.
So imagine a guy that tall, and you have to move out the way at the last minute just so he can hit the board.
It's not last minute. It's last millisecond.
Yeah, it's a split second. It's super quick.
Wow.
But in order for me to do my job successfully, I have to make sure that he's listening to me. And not only that, we're in a huge stadium of 70,000 people. And before they jump, there's a big hush sign on the Jumbotron where it says, "Be quiet," so the athletes can jump. So now you have 70,000 people watching Lex jump.
Oh.
That's pretty scary right
it's
there.
making the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. It's like,
That's
wow.
all pressure on Lex and on me to get him down that runway.
Wow.
So while I called him down for that first one, unfortunately, I moved out the way a little bit too slow.
Ooh.
And I went down. He hit me and I went down, but I turned around and I saw that he was down in the sand.
Oh.
And that really scared me because immediately, you know, I just thought about him like, this guy trained this hard to get here, and I just ruined his career. So what do? You know, I didn't panic, but I got up, dusted myself off, and ran over to him, and I asked him, was he okay? He stood. He was a little banged up, but as soon as he stood up, the crowd went crazy. So immediately, mind you, we had an athlete from Greece that was there competing, so it was hometown advantage for them. As soon as he stood up, the crowd went crazy, and they were cheering from him because of, you know, they just saw that he was, you know, he stood up, he was ready to go again, and that's tough. That is really tough. And once he did that, I knew we had the crowd on our side. Okay. So I was saying, let's do this. You know, the crowd is on our side, and he immediately got pumped up. Not only that, it just showed me that he was willing to give me another chance.
Wow. I want to say, so we had Lex on the show a week or so ago, and he did not mention that at all.
See, I love to tell this story. I know he doesn't really mention this story, but
wow,
this right here just showed me that he was willing to give me another chance to get him down. Mind you, I've only known him for almost 3 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
So for him to give me another chance, that's when I knew that this is where I was supposed to be at this time, and I am not going to mess this chance up. So he let me. So once again, we had another shot at it.
Yeah.
Straight. Boom. He hits the board, and I move out the way just in time, and he gets the silver medal off of his second jump.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, it was that game, I want to say, was a little bittersweet before he got on the podium. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because 2004, I felt that I should have been at the games as an individual athlete. I had all my teammates at the game. So, you know, I got to watch the opening ceremony at the training facility where I trained in San Diego, to see my teammates, my roommate go out there. It was a little tough for me.
Yeah. Bittersweet, right?
Excuse me?
Bittersweet, you know,
it was bittersweet. Up until the point in time where Lex was on that podium, the smile on his face, the flag around him, and him thanking me for being there. That's when I knew, you know, I was at that point in time, I was put here for a purpose, and that's to be someone else's eyes.
Jerome.
And I definitely think that's when the mantra, success through selflessness, you know, definitely came forward. Guiding lives. Yeah. You know, all of those things really came forward because of that first little bit of putting someone on that podium.
Yeah. And to me, I can't even think of a gift that's greater than letting somebody else shine. You know, there was a quote that that kind of hit me when you and Jonathan were talking, that you said, I want them to be recognized. And it's such a short sentence. And I don't even know if you understand how strong that one sentence is, because not just in sports or what you're doing or that gift of wanting others to shine, others to be recognized it's a gem. It's something that it doesn't happen every day, Jerome. And I hope you understand, especially somebody like me and probably many of our listeners, how that one statement is really going to resonate with them.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I am who I am because of my parents. I was brought up that way. You know, my father, he worked for the government. My mother worked for the state, and helping your fellow man and woman has always been a part of my upbringing. Not only did my father work for the government, but he was also the track coach and the summer track coach. So he worked with kids. He brought in kids that didn't have the shoes for track, or didn't have the means to get to a track meet. He put things out there to get these kids on the right track. And, I've seen this growing up, and that became a part of me, so, I lived through this, this is my lifestyle because of how I was brought up. I just didn't understand it yet, but this is where I was supposed to be, and I tell people this earlier on, guide running, you have to have that cadence. You have to be in sync. Yeah. You have to communicate. And, the in sync part came from me. I don't want to brag a little bit, but I like to say that I'm a pretty good dancer,
That is a great analogy of what you're doing.
And you're coming out the block, it's like, ba, 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 and you're picking it up. And then it stems even more, the connection of the tether. I like to tell people, it's similar to almost a three-legged race. So if you've never done a three-legged race, that's when you tie your feet up in the inside and you're mimicking each other cadence.
Yes.
And when you guide it, you're in sync as well.
Yeah.
So that's another way that I'm connected. And I've done that as a kid growing up. I've been at the family reunions, the PE, in the school and PE three-legged race. And I felt that all of these things I've been doing as an adult, I've learned as a kid.
Yeah.
And, adapting to certain situations. I've been in certain situations where I had to adapt.
Yeah.
And that taught me to be a better guide runner. But what I was able to do to make myself even better as a guide runner was the communication aspect. And when I started guiding, I realized my first race that there wasn't other guide runners that were communicating and talking. And that really baffled me.
Yeah.
Penn, they weren't talking and running. Yeah. But I knew from my individual aspect of my life and my career, when I'm in this certain position coming out the starting blocks, I need to be in the down phase and my head down, gradually coming up. At the 15-meter mark, I need to be coming up tall.
Yeah.
50, I need to make sure my body up tall. And if the race gets close, I also know I need to lean at the finish line. So that's that I brought over to guiding.
Wow.
So that's why you constantly hear me yelling. Set. Drive. Come on now. There you go. Use your arms. We're at the 10-meter mark. Yeah, there you go. Come up. Keep your body up tall. You're at the 30. You're looking good. Come on now. Pick it up. You're at the 60-meter. Come on. They're coming in close. You're at the 90. You're at the 5. Lean. And I just gave you a 100-meter race right there.
And the crowd goes wild.
And the crowd goes wild with excitement, Yeah. And one of my big things that I pride myself on is getting the crowd involved in the classification. Of course, I got a special place in my heart for the vision impaired. So therefore, the first thing I tell the crowd is that they can't see you, but they can hear you. Make some noise.
Absolutely.
And that was one of the things that I felt with my platform that I can do, is to make sure that they're recognized.
Yeah. Wow.
Gets me pumped up. I feel right now.
I know. Well, so you were talking about the communication. It was the last marathon that I ran, which I know is very different than, your sprints that you're doing. But I was with a guide that I had been running with, training all summer for the, we did the 5Ks, 10K, all that, to build up to this marathon. And the night before, we went out to dinner and somebody had jalapenos on their meal and they're like, oh, I better not eat these because we're running tomorrow. Well, my guide goes, oh, I'll take them. And he just shoves them in it. And I was like, oh no, you did not just do that. And sure enough, the next day he was hurting on a lot of different levels. And I felt like I was the one that was like, go, go, go. We got to go, go, go. And well, what happened was he got dehydrated probably even halfway through the race, but I wasn't. So I was strong, but I didn't have a choice. And he knew I didn't have a choice. And so when we came into the stadium for that final lap on the track, he was so depleted that he wasn't paying attention, and he didn't tell me that it wasn't very high, maybe like a half an inch. And my foot hit it just right or wrong, depending on how you look at it. And I went down, and I knew I had done some damage on my ankle, but I was so angry that I got up and I said, we're finishing. And we did. And we literally got across the finish line, and he just completely collapsed. The medics came over, and I was so angry at him. And I haven't done a marathon since then, but it was that communication, and I think it goes beyond the race. Especially with your guide, and for anybody out there that's interested in track and field, it's you do depend on that guide, and I've never run with him since. I got a lot of jokes like, "Oh, Penn ran her guide into the ground," whatever. But one of the things that really, stood out with your interview, your pre-interview with Jonathan, is that energy that that they're putting their trust in you. But I think, or at least I felt, that you trust them. You trust them to show up at the top of their game, to match your energy. And that's what gets them across. So one of the things that Lex shared is that first race, or not race, but the first jump and with you, and he went on to be on the podium. He felt like when he was standing on the podium, it wasn't just for him. It wasn't just him getting the medal. It was his mom and grandmother and his coach, and for you, the people that helped got him there. And I don't know if all athletes feel that, but I know as somebody who has a disability, I feel that too. Whenever I get recognized for anything, all the people that helped got me there, like, flash through my mind. And that goes into my next question is, so the Paralympics with Lex, and then you went on to be, a guide for athletes after that at the next Paralympics. How did you make that transition from, or was it a natural transition because you were a runner, from Lex to the next athlete?
I think it was somewhat of an easier transition for me, to be honest, because I was able to compete at a higher level. So when I got involved with the next athlete that I ran, we just fell into it. But just as any athlete that comes in their first time running with the excitement, we always have the same common goal, and that's to be the best. So knowing that I'm in the position to help somebody else achieve that without hindering them or slowing them up and allowing them to run as fast as they want, that's one of the most amazing feelings right there. And I want to touch a little bit back on what you were talking about as far as the the guides and knowing their role and having that understanding of the trust with their partner. I just feel like I see the fire that's burning in these athletes when they do it. And by me being who I am, I match their energy. I actually match their energy. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is that they don't run my race. I have to run their race.
Oh, right.
So a lot of people don't know that. I actually have to mimic their running technique, their running form. So I have to switch up my style to match theirs. And Lex was 6'1", 6'2". The guy that I ran with, Josiah Jameson, who won gold in Beijing, he's 6'4", 6'5".
Whoa.
Yes, big difference. Big difference. And the guy and David Brown, who I ran with in 2016, he's 5'6", 5'7".
Oh, wow.
Shorter. So I have to match their running technique and their running form while while we compete and race.
Wow. Do you keep in touch with those that you've guided? I would think it's a pretty intimate relationship.
Yeah, you build a relationship. I was Josiah's godfather to his daughter. David's still around. He's competing. He just works with another athlete, and things come full circle. I'm now paired up again, getting ready for Paris in 2024, running with Lex. So I'm super excited.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That was going to be my next question is, are you headed to Paris in 2024? What?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready for that. But before we get to Paris, we actually have World Championships this year in Paris in July. And we have Pan American Games, which is going to be in Chile, I want to say in August.
Wow.
So these next years are very big years.
Wow. And he's it's North Carolina. So how do you guys train together since you're in San Diego?
He trains full time at the Olympic Training Center.
Oh, he does. Okay.
Still in San Diego now with me.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I guess he was in North Carolina because of the holidays. And that's
yes. But we get together where he lives right down the street from me downtown. We're both downtown guys. Lives down the street. So when I get up and go to practice, grab him and we'll head straight to practice and get it in.
Wow.
It works out perfect. And I couldn't be paired up with one of the most amazing people on and off the track. Lex is someone that I've learned so much from, as far as, the way that I talk, the way that I communicate, how I paint the picture for any and everybody to see it, even if they can't see it, or if they close their eyes. I want to be able to paint that picture.
Wow. Well, that was going to be one of my next questions. How does your guiding skills sort of bleed over into the rest of your life?
It's so funny too. I think it's more empathy as far as, put an example, dating life, my dating world. I find myself, making sure that they're on the inside, even though I was always like that, but just aware of everything, my surrounding, don't say a curve, watch out, we got a curve. Even though I know they can see it, these are just things that, come out and I say. And so it's paying attention to every detail and every aspect of my life now.
Wow. And how are I'm sure your parents are just overjoyed with your journey and where you've landed and all the people that, you've helped shine. What are some of their comments about where you are in your life right now?
My father passed away in 2013.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But he's really a big supporter of what I did. He's the one that actually told me to continue. After 2008, when I was able to put someone else on the podium, I retired for a couple of years. And he knew that fire was still burning inside, that I wanted to compete. And he was the one that says, go back to the training facility. This is where you belong. And so he pumped me up and got me more motivated to do it. And my mother, she constantly brags on me, about my journey. And when I first started this, a lot of people didn't understand the Paralympics. But now, as you know, you see them, you see Paralympians on commercials, you see them doing so much. And everybody, it's everywhere, but it's supposed to be that way.
Absolutely.
It's supposed to be that way. But being in this position I am as a guide runner, I go into practice each and every day, knowing when you know that you're here for a purpose, you're put on this earth for a purpose, you're always fired up. Yeah. Even on those days where you don't really feel like going and doing this, when I step onto the track and I see Lex excitement of training, of getting better, that doesn't do anything but pump me up to get better too as well.
Yeah, well, and I wanted to go back to that mantra or the quote that you had, and you said it several times with Jonathan, I think it might have came from your dad, but what got you there will keep you there. And I just love that. Can you share where that came from and how you use that?
Old coaches who, he understood sometimes you don't have to do that, if you start, it basically started from our training, a whole year of us training hard to get to that podium.
Mm.
And then being at that podium, you don't have to do, when you're almost there, you don't have to do extra. So that's where that came from. What got you there will keep you there. Sometimes we lose it, and we think that we have to do more when we're already prepared.
Wow.
That's where it stems from.
Wow. I love that. I've shared this on Aftersight before, but I had a friend, gosh, I was probably in my 20s, that shared this philosophy of show up, work hard, and don't fall in love with the outcome. And what that means is if you show up and you work hard, the outcome that is meant to happen is going to happen. It may not be the outcome that you thought would happen, but you got to be open that if you show up and work hard, it's the outcome that's meant to be. And that she doesn't even remember telling me that, because I ran into her, but from the second I heard that, it stuck with me. And I think that's why yours really stood out to me, because it's that same thing, it's like, what got you there? You put in all that work and that effort and that training and built up that muscle memory. And that does take you on, and I think people who, especially people who are blind or have other different abilities, that you do put in that work. You learned that you've had to pivot your life to learn new skills and new ways of thinking. And if you put in the work and really get that into your muscle memory, you don't have to totally focus all the time if you're going to do something right or wrong. Just trust those skills that you've had.
Yes, most definitely. I also go by, make your mistakes in training so you be prepared for the competition. I mean, sometimes you have to learn, and that's working with different athletes that I've had the opportunity to work with. It's trial and error from certain things. As a guide, I also need to be guided in order to be successful as a guide. So hearing that feedback from Lex, from Josiah, and how I'm guiding is very critical and important. Those are very critical and important. Sometimes they may want to hear something else versus what I've said.
Yeah.
And those cues are very important. That feedback is also very important.
Yeah, absolutely. I know when I'm downhill skiing, and most of the time my husband is my guide, and we have a pretty good communication system. But when I have to switch to a different guide, holy smoly, I feel, and we always like the first run is an easy green, so we can kind of work out that communication before we hit the serious stuff. But it is, you kind of get in the sync with your guide. And then if you have to switch, it takes a little bit of time. Do you think, like with Lex, because you did work with him before, do you think that came easier, or was it really like starting at zero again?
You talking about after working with him the second time?
Yeah.
Oh, it's easy. It was definitely easy.
Oh, okay.
Even though me and Lex weren't training together, we're always together. Me and Lex have a strong relationship, a brotherhood. So we're always picking each other's brain on and off the track.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was easy. We both connected and got in sync right away.
Yeah. Jerome, a lot of our listeners, they ask about this because, because you're a podium. You've been on that podium through the people you guide, and you've accomplished so much. And I've interviewed other people, like Eric Weimer and who've summited Mount Everest. And a lot of times we focus on that accomplishment, but we don't focus on the hard work that got them there, which is awesome that you're sharing that. But people ask, well, what do you do? What does Jerome do when he feels like he's stuck in a rut or in a dark space, like what are some of the techniques you use to sort of get back on track?
I've been blessed to be around the most positive people on earth, people that I feel comfortable enough to talk to if I'm having a bad day. And that circle is small, but that circle is very strong. And my mother, my siblings, Lex Gillette, and my coach, the people that I'm around keeps me zoned in, focused, and allow me to release some of that frustration so I don't carry it in to anything that I do.
Oh,
and yeah. I gotta say my pup too. I got a big dog now due quarantine. So my pup and I meditate through my plants. I'm obsessed with plants, and that's another space that I have to get away from. My patio. I have a lot of plants, and watering and see the growth of the plants from the beginning and to where they're at now. That just keeps me calm and motivated. So it's all my surroundings.
Wow.
I would like to say there's nothing negative that I'm around, and having that inner environment that really it puts a toll on you.
Yeah.
And I noticed if that's not in my environment, it allowed me to be so much more successful, creating ideas, just being vibrant and excited about life.
Yeah. Those things. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, I know growing up, my parents always said, you're only as good as the friends you hang around with.
Yes, most definitely. That's strong.
And I love to, Jerome, how you shared about the plants and your dog, because we've talked about that on here too, of if you have other people, animals, plants, anything out there that is dependent on you for their survival, it gives you something that you have to do every day. Like I have a guide dog and his name's Beethoven, and I'm surprised he hasn't made noise in the background because he usually does. But I have to get up in the morning, no matter how much my body's aching or creaking and it's, because you feel that, nose, that warm nose on, digging in on the side of the bed, like, okay, it's time. Or same thing with plants, which I was sharing with Jerome. I'm not a plant person. Even succulents don't survive in my home, but I know.
I gotta send you one that I know that will survive.
That would be great. But yeah, I think what keeps people in the dark and in that negative space is that they don't feel that they matter. And I think when you have things like plants and animals and people, and also to surround yourself with that positive attitude and the positive situations that Jerome talks about. So thank you for sharing that, because we do get asked that a lot, like, oh, well, these people are on top of the world. They're probably never down. Well, they are, but they've acquired skills. You guys have, and we've acquired those skills that pull us up out of it.
Yeah, most definitely.
Absolutely.
I really feel that it's strong to not only encourage, but push with encouragement. And what I mean by that is, good job, not just good job to me. I hear that, which is great, but I want you to say, that's awesome what you're doing. Now, what else are you adding on to that? Talk to me about that encouragement. So push me with more than just saying a great job. And once again, I'm around those people that do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Jerome, what's next for you besides Paris? What's next in your, your future here?
Well, this has been amazing. Doing team building activities. That's been real big right now with me and Lex. We do team building activities with corporate groups where we connect two coworkers together, put a blinder over one of them, and immediately you go into, when you have someone that loses their sight just right then and there, immediately you have to trust the person that you're with.
Right.
And we're just all we're doing is amplifying some of those senses that we tend to get away from. And that's the importance of trust and communication.
Oh, wow.
So this is something that we've been touring the United States now, which has been great. So fitting that training schedule in, which is very important. That's the first and foremost, but also making sure we spread the awareness of what we do, on the track, but what we're trying to create and build, and bring that awareness to the Paralympic movement, period.
Absolutely. Well, it's what is that old saying is, feed somebody who's hungry, you feed them for a day, but if you teach them how to grow their own food, then you feed them for life, something like that. Well,
I knew if you get that, I would have messed it up if I would have said it.
Jerome, well, so, there may be people out there listening that are really interested in your team building experiences. How do they find out more about that?
You can follow me on social media. My social media is pretty much all about motivation, excitement. And, I share my journey with my plants, my dog, and Lex is always on my page too as well. So _Jerome Avery _ at Instagram, or you can reach me at jeromeavery.com, which is my website where I constantly, share stuff. Now we're going to do a not a podcast, but we're going to do like a morning show. Me and Lex are on a journey
fun.
on our way to practice. We're going to do maybe 2 to 3 episodes where we're just talking about how we're feeling, something to get you motivated and pumped up for the day. Just something to get you moving.
We would love to stay connected with you and be able to push that out on our platforms if you guys are open for that.
I really appreciate it so much.
Awesome. So we will put Jerome's contact information in the podcast notes so you guys can have them. But check him out on Instagram. And then his website is jeromeavery.com. And, regardless if you're, a company, a corporation that's looking for some team building experiences, or you just want to be inspired, I've been on both those, and it really is a lot of amazing takeaway. Which, speaking of takeaway, Jerome, what would you like our audience to take away from today's conversation?
One door closes, another one opens. Opportunity is always there. As an individual athlete, I was able to carry it over as a team player, and I tell people my success as an individual athlete, I felt was amazing. But my success and where I'm at as a guide runner, it's through the roof and beyond. I'm in outer space now. I don't even know where I'm at because of, once again, it allowed me to be around so many amazing people and to share my experiences through my upbringing and the journey as a guide runner. So one door closes, another one open. Believe in yourself, believe in your abilities, and things will happen. Trust me, things will happen.
Yeah. I love that. So Jerome, I've been asking you questions. I always give an opportunity for my guests to ask me a question. Would you like to ask me a question? And what would it be?
Oh, well, first off, I think we talked a little bit Penn Street. I love the name. And how is it to do downhill skiing?
Oh, you've never skied?
I've never skied.
Jerome, we need to fix that. When I talked to Lex, he said he did ski, but he doesn't ski while he's training because he doesn't want to. Because you can get hurt skiing.
That's what I hear too. It's not easy. You can't just jump into it and go full throttle.
No, it's not recommended that you do that. It's amazing, Jerome. It's freedom to me, and I'm untethered when I ski. My favorite thing is, and I like to go to the ski places that aren't super crowded, because it's more obstacles than fun sometimes. But what we do is we'll hit the lip of a run, and my guide will look, backwards and forwards, and he goes, "It's wide open, go for it." And I use a headset, so we're Bluetooth connected, and I just go. and I can go as fast as I want to. And they're, of course, behind me. And that, if I get too close to the trees, or if they see something, an obstacle in the way, or if they see like ice or something, they'll say something in the headset, but they only say something through the headset during that time if it's dangerous. All the rest of the time, it's just quiet, and it's me and the air and the snow, and there's nothing like it. I love running, it's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like you're floating on air. And even when you hit ice, it's this like sound. But I've learned, like, you just kind of melt into it. And it's just, there's nothing like it. We got to get you, as soon as you don't need to fear you're going to get hurt. You and Lex out to Colorado to ski, because it is just, it's the closest thing. And especially when you get off that lift at the very top peak of a mountain, and you can feel the space all the way around you, and it's just wide open. You really, really do feel like you're on the top of the world.
Now, we talk about trust. That requires a lot of trust, and communication. I'm always connected for the majority of the time while we're racing. That's easier. That's easier to be connected, and that not being connected. Oh my! I can imagine you have to really zone in, trust the person that you're with,
but also trust yourself. Like, I've skied for decades, and to trust myself and not get stuck in my head, and just let my body do what it's been trained to do. And it's just like letting go.
Penn, you are amazing.
So are you, Jerome. And, I know you're busy with what you guys are doing with in the corporate world and the team building, and then also, of course, training. So thank you so much for taking your valuable time to be with us today. And we are going to stay in touch. And I definitely want to know more and share your guys' journey to Paris. And then can't wait. We'll all be cheering you guys on when you guys are in Paris. So thank you so much, Jerome. This has been such a treat. I have the best job in the world here, and people like you make that possible. So thank you.
Thank you. I also tell Jonathan I said hello.
I will. And thank all of you out there for dropping in week after week. Our numbers keep, raising and skyrocketing all over the world, Even in Russia. We've got listeners in Russia right now, and I know there's lots of controversy going on, but this shows me that, you guys are out there listening, and you're looking for some sunshine and some hope out there. So God be with all of you. And also, of course, thank everybody at AINC for all the hard work you guys do behind the scenes. It does not go unnoticed. And remember to be kind to yourself, and to find a way to be kind to somebody else this week. It's good for your soul. Until next week, be good. Jerome, thank you again. Tell Lex I said hello.
Well, thank you. Thank you all, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Jonathan Price here with Audio Information Network of Colorado. I am the podcast producer here, and I want to thank Jerome and Lex for the past 2 weeks of being on Aftersight. They are such an incredible interview. They are incredible men and athletes, and I thank you guys so much for being on our show. If you guys loved this show and you want to see more guests like these two guys, would you do us a favor and please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere that you consume your podcast? It really helps us out. It gives us the ability to reach people who we may not be able to reach otherwise. So by you guys sharing it, leaving a review, giving us guest suggestions and all that kind of stuff, it would really help us out. Also, wanted to let you guys know Blind Level Tech is going to be launching in March, and I can't tell you all the amazing details just yet. We're still working out some of the guests and other things that go into building a show, but it is coming. It is featuring technology, all things assistive tech from Apple, Google, Microsoft, you name it, we will be covering it. Myself and Evan Starnes will be the hosts, and we will bring tons of laughter, tons of guests. If you guys like this show, again, please don't forget to leave that 5-star review and send comments, feedback at aincolorado.org/podcast-guests. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's version of Aftersight. Be blessed. Have a great day.